And impeached first-term president for abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. But now, thanks to the efforts of the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, we know a lot more about how that impeachment came together. According to documents released by DNI Gabbard, the supposed whistleblower who kicked off all of this didn't even hear the phone call and only had a second-hand knowledge of it. The intelligence community's inspector general didn't go through a thorough investigation and only talked to 4 people, some of whom were known to be anti-Trump. The IG went outside the bounds of his office and had his referrals dismissed by the Department of Justice as unwarranted. House Democrats, namely Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff, jumped on it anyway. And new tonight, DNI Gabbard has sent criminal referrals of her own based on what she found. You may have noticed that the U.S. intelligence chief rarely does interviews, but tonight she spoke to us exclusively. Here it is. Director Gabbard, thank you so much for being here. Great to see you.
Great to see you, Katie. Thanks.
So, of course, there is an ongoing war and ceasefire with Iran. President Trump this morning talked about potentially the war being over soon. We had the CIA director last week giving a briefing to reporters at the White House. Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Kane has talked about this extensively alongside Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was also at the White House today talking about this issue. That is a threat to the United States, and it is being handled, and information is coming out every single day from CENTCOM about the updates on what is happening. But another threat to our constitutional republic is when the intelligence community is weaponized for political purposes. You released new documentation this week showing what happened in the lead up to the impeachment of President Donald Trump in 2019. Can you tell us what you found and why now to release and declassify this information to the public?
Yeah, thanks, Katie. You know, first and foremost, it is always the right time to expose the truth to the American people about the deep state tactics that have been used time and time again, fundamentally to undermine the foundational principles of our republic, and in so many cases to undermine the decisions that the American people make when they cast their votes in our elections to decide who they want to lead our country. And so the documents that we released really pointed to the fact that the 2019 impeachment occurred because there were members of the intelligence community working directly with House Democrats, specifically Adam Schiff, who's on the House Intelligence Committee at the time, concocting this narrative, weaponizing the whistleblower process, lying and abusing their power, all to create this manufactured basis that Nancy Pelosi then used to drive this impeachment against Donald Trump in 2019. I'll hit the high points on these documents. There are details and hundreds of pages of transcripts that we released in conjunction with House Intel Chairman Rick Crawford. But the bottom line is this. Number one, the whistleblower, so-called whistleblower who came forward, presented no evidence and no first-hand knowledge. This is a person who had heard about a conversation that President Trump had with Zelensky, then went straight to Adam Schiff on the House Intelligence Committee. And this is where they came up with this false narrative. And this so-called whistleblower then went and filed a complaint with the intelligence community Inspector General. The other witness, so-called witness to this, is somebody who also had zero first-hand knowledge and presented zero evidence, someone who was also a co-author of the 2017 Russia hoax intelligence community assessment that President Obama had ordered be created in conjunction with John Brennan and James Clapper at the time. Again, no first-hand knowledge or evidence, and someone who said that even after reading the transcript, he didn't really see the issue there until the whistleblower had explained it to him. And lastly, the Inspector General himself, and this is really such a violation of public trust and the responsibility that we expect all of our inspectors generals to have, in that he didn't conduct a full investigation. He didn't even ask to see the transcript of the phone call between President Trump and Zelensky, and he admitted to Congress that he did not have any evidence that he was relying on. He had made a criminal referral to the Department of Justice based on this so-called whistleblower's complaint. Department of Justice came back and said there's nothing here. This Inspector General then went to Congress anyway and presented it to them. All of this coming down to the bottom line of which this was a partisan political attempt, once again, to undermine the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump as President of the United States.
I want to get back to the Department of Justice in just a second, but you talked about the criminal or the referral and the lack of firsthand information. So in the lead up to the impeachment of President Trump, the standard was it had to be firsthand information. And then right before he happened to go through this impeachment process, the standard changed to being able to use secondhand information, even if it were unreliable and deemed unreliable by the Inspector General. Why was that standard changed?
This is something that, again, there's further lies being told in the transcripts of this former Inspector General Atkinson when he went and testified before the House Intelligence Committee, where he was directly asked this question that you're asking here now. And he's making claims, oh, well, the law required me to do it. That's complete nonsense. The law did not require him to do it. The responsibility is with the Inspector General to deem whether or not a complaint is credible and whether or not it is urgent. How do you find a complaint to be credible when there is zero evidence provided and there is zero firsthand knowledge provided, not only by the whistleblower, by any witness in this case, and when the Inspector General himself did not even request to see the documents that these individuals are referencing in their false accusations. And so it was obviously, to me, part of this plot to change the standard, which the Inspector General did, from requiring that there be either evidence or firsthand knowledge presented in order to determine whether or not a complaint is credible, to merely allowing for hearsay and nothing else. This fed into this manufactured narrative.
Yeah, is it ever appropriate for politicians to be working with the intelligence community behind the scenes on an impeachment probe?
No, and this is why the fact that the so-called whistleblower, instead of going directly to the Inspector General and filing a complaint, the fact that this whistleblower went directly to the House Intelligence Committee and Adam Schiff specifically and his team really points to the politicization of intelligence and the intelligence community. And again, the whistleblower process, which is really egregious because it is the channel for those to come and report complaints about things like politicized intelligence and the tactics of the deep state being deployed.
Well, and then let's not forget that Adam Schiff repeatedly lied about having any contact ahead of time with this so-called whistleblower after the standards were changed so that they could move forward with this in a political fashion right ahead of an election year. But regarding accountability, today your office sent criminal referrals to the Department of Justice related to your findings in this case. Can you talk to us about why you decided to do that and which laws you believe were broken?
It's important to push for accountability. First step is exposing the truth to the American people. That is a huge step towards accountability because the more we shine a light on the truth of these deep state tactics to undermine our republic and the will of the American people, the more likely it is that we have hope for change. Accountability can come after the presentation of the truth, and in this case, documents that had not been released publicly before. I'm leaving it up to the lawyers and the Department of Justice to take a look at this and to determine the specific legal parameters, but it was important for us to refer this along with all of the information that we have so that the Department of Justice can do exactly that and investigate it.
Director Gabbard, President Trump has tasked you with ridding the intelligence community of political influence of weaponization. What is the status of that? And what is your message to those who say that you're coming out with this report as a distraction, there isn't really a political issue happening within the intelligence community, and that you're just using it as a way to get at Democrats in an election year? Why is this important?
You know, those who often respond with those kinds of diatribes and kind of a lack of substantive response to the real issue at hand really point to the fact that what we are exposing to the American people has such huge consequences, and it really points to usually the critics, the Democrat critics' culpability in this, both those who were involved and those who knew about it. The time is always right to expose the truth. We know that the deep state rot within the intelligence community has existed for a very long time, and it is very deep. As we continue to discover new examples of these tried and true tactics that have been deployed, unfortunately, time and time again, we're going to continue to expose that truth. Once again, just by shining a light on the truth, we have the opportunity for the American people to now recognize if they try to use these tactics again, we are all watching and we are all standing on guard because we stand to protect our republic.
Well, we hear a lot about the need to protect democracy, and I can't think of something worse than attacking our constitutional republic by politicizing and weaponizing the intelligence community against American voters and against the people that they elect. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, great to see you. Thank you for your work, and I look forward to hearing more. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, and Israel. We'll give you an up-close look.
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
Gerald the Fish. What about, like, Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. What? How did you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
If you're a suspect in your wife's disappearance and you just told the world your sole focus is finding her, it may not look great to then leave the place where she disappeared, because Brian Hooker today left the Bahamas, where his wife Lynette vanished. Now, to be clear, his attorney says he flew back to the United States on a commercial flight after learning his mother is seriously ill and says that he plans to return. But just to put this into context, this comes as the search for Lynette Hooker approaches day 12, and it takes a more serious turn because today the U.S. Coast Guard brought in cadaver dogs to assist in this search. Remember, Lynette disappeared April 4th when Brian reportedly told authorities she fell overboard. She fell overboard from their dinghy in rough seas. Now, he was arrested. He was released Monday night after Bahamian officials said there wasn't enough evidence to file formal charges. He's not been charged with a crime, but police previously said when he was released that he remained a suspect. We know this investigation is ongoing. And here's the other component to all this. After his release, Brian gave multiple interviews saying he would continue searching for his wife. But again, now that appears to be on hold. And tonight, friends of Lynette, they want to know why. Blaine and Marnie Stevenson, who met Lynette and Brian Hooker in 2023, say they have been doing everything they can to help find their friend. They say when Brian Hooker called them and detailed his side of the story with photos and maps, They recorded that 40-minute call.
She basically just bounced off the dinghy in the middle of a little blow, like 20-some knot winds that popped up, and on a half-mile maybe trip back to the dinghy, and single thing failed. Every single thing. We weren't wearing life jackets.
The Stevensons say they then called Bahamian police, the U.S. Coast Guard, Crime Stoppers to share what they learned. They got little response, according to them. So what did they do? They went to the public, posted the recorded call, shared photos and text messages with the media, including this message that Lynette apparently sent Marnie in 2024, seemingly sharing her anxiety about being at sea with Brian, writing, "It was real bad. I can't be out there with him." Now, the Stevensons say they are not giving up. They have serious questions about Brian Hooker's actions since her disappearance. And Marnie and Blaine Stevenson join me now live from their boat in St. Martin to give their opinions, their takes on all of this. Thank you both so much for coming on. Blaine, I'm going to start with you. You have a message for Brian Hooker. What is it?
Yeah, Brian, I know, was a former Marine. He was a union leader. He was a staunch person of the people and fighting for the people's right to protest and stand up in any political climate. And I'm asking him to be that person right now. He's been making decisions. He said that the night was a cascade of failures, and I'm not going to backseat quarterback him on that one. But what I will say is since that moment, he needs to step up and be that person he is. We still don't know what she was wearing that night. When we have people walking beaches and looking for things, we don't know what size shoes she was wearing, what color shoes she was wearing. He's obviously making decisions that gets him detained, or he has a life that's out of control and he needs to go back to California. I'm not going to judge him for those things, but put somebody in charge. Give us the information we need to find Lynette while you can't do it.
So, Marnie, let me talk about that a little bit. What was your reaction to Brian leaving the Bahamas today? Because if I just said, you know, look, his sole focus is finding Lynette, and then he leaves, people would say, wait, what? But you heard his attorney say his mother's ill, plans to come back. Your reaction?
Again, kind of like what Blaine touched on, in that accidents and emergencies happen. We can't control if something is going on with his mom. But the fact that he is leaving and not giving anybody information about how to continue searching for her, it's disgusting. I mean, I can't even put it into words, because I just can't fathom that this could even be a response from somebody who says that he'll do anything to find his wife, but he can't even put somebody else in charge or give anybody any information about what they're looking for.
Blaine, what did you make of the several interviews that he did yesterday? Because one argument could be, look, there's been a lot said about him. He's trying to explain the narratives, trying to give his perspective. I see this happen in a number of cases before. What was your view, your perspective on him doing these interviews?
There is no narrative. There is no nothing. It's finding Lynette. If you've got 3 minutes to talk to the news, and I respect the fact he doesn't like talking to the news and he feels like he has to. I don't want to talk to the news right now. You put me in this situation. The truth of the matter is you had 3 minutes to explain to the news what they were looking for. You had 3 minutes to give every detail you could so everybody on that island could help find Lynette. And you spent 3 minutes saying me, 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 me. Let's talk about Lynette. Where, when, why? What was she wearing? Did she have her glasses on? Did it have a band on it? What are we looking for on the beaches, Brian?
Marnie, look, you know, friends, family, they've come forward with these claims of a turbulent marriage, these allegations of Brian being violent towards Lynette. You shared the text messages that Lynette apparently sent you in 2024. I mentioned before that indicate this apparent anxiety. You know, obviously, if you want to talk about what he said in the interviews, but also I'm just generally curious, what was your impression of Brian? Did you ever worry for Lynette's safety?
To be perfectly honest, those text messages happened very early on in our friendship. And she didn't go into a whole lot of detail. So at that time, I didn't really press her as also a victim of domestic violence. I know the more you pressure somebody, the more you can shut them down also. So I kind of just let her roll, let her vent. They wound up back together after that. And when we were in like physical contact with them, hanging out in person, when they got back together, they were sober. So I didn't witness anything that was concerning to me at the time. But then once the allegations started coming out, it was like, oh, yeah, remember those text messages from way back in 2024? And it's kind of like, okay, it all makes sense now.
Can either of you explain, we played a portion of that call, what that conversation was like?
That conversation at the time was honestly, our friend was telling us about the worst night of his life, and he's tired. I imagine he hasn't slept. I imagine that he's feeling guilt, horror, everything that you could imagine if you lost your wife. We recorded that conversation because we were going to sit here with charts and we were going to help him. At the end of the recording, we talked about starting a WhatsApp group, getting hold of local boaters, putting a pin up on NFL, doing the things we can to get everybody involved. We understand that as Americans, when we go over to Bahamas and we leave this pile of poo on their deck, they don't have all the resources, but we could get the community involved. He knows about community outreach. He knows about the power of the people. That's been his message since I've met him. Every Facebook post he's put out is along those messages. And it's the one thing he's refused to do is get the community involved.
He talked about boaters that were after the fact that came to his boat and said, hey, what can we do to help? And he's like, oh, well, there's really nothing to do. And that's not helpful. That's not getting the word out there. I mean, obviously those people came to him and wanted to help. And there's been no action on any of that on his part.
Well, listen, Blaine and Marty, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your views on this and sharing your opinions on this. And I know it's not easy, and we're thinking about you guys. We're hoping that Lynette is found safe and that, there's a resolution to this. But appreciate it. I know people are following this and trying to help as much as they can. There's a lot of tension being brought to it. But again, I know it's not easy talking about this, but I do appreciate you both coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It is unbelievable, but it has been 74 days since 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, the mom of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie, seemingly vanished from her Tucson home. And over the last few days, neighbors have seen this increase in police presence in the neighborhood. But according to authorities, no one should be getting their hopes up just yet. Why? Because it's not because of a new break in the case or any new leads as to what may have happened to Nancy. Here's what the Pima County Sheriff's Office told USA Today about the increased patrols earlier today. Quote, the sheriff recently told residents in the Guthrie neighborhood during a meeting that there have been increased patrols in the area in response to complaints about streamers and citizen journalists possibly trespassing. Now, the more frequent patrols are reportedly not just happening by Nancy's home, but also near the home of Annie Guthrie and her husband, Tomaso. But is this increase in patrols really out there to keep residents safe from rogue vloggers? News Nation's senior producer, Allison Weiner, says there is likely more to that story. Allison has spent her career covering some of the biggest crime stories in the country, including on the ground in Tucson after the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie with Brian Entin. She's also the author, see it right here, the book Murder in the Media, behind the scenes of 4 high-profile murders. Joins me live now. Thank you so much for coming on. Great work out there.
Thank you.
You say the sheriff is potentially covering his tracks. What do you mean by that?
I just think that it's kind of late for this, but he's trying to have to do something to appease the neighbors, I believe, because there's somebody out there that kidnapped Nancy Guthrie. They haven't found out who it is. And I'm sure there are concerns. I know there are concerns because I've spoken to the neighbors about the fact that this person hasn't been caught. Could they offend again? Could they kidnap somebody else? This is an area of retirees, a lot of women, elderly women living by themselves. We spoke to some of them. I mean, there are younger people there too, but for the most part, you know, this is something that's still concerning the neighborhood. So he's got to pretend like that he's, at this point, not pretend, he has to send out these things to show that he is still keeping the neighborhood safe. What to me it looks like, though, I have to tell you, Jesse, is he's like, what did they say? He's closing the barn door after the horses were out. I mean, maybe he should have had this kind of coverage right after Nancy was abducted instead of not securing that area.
Can we focus on that a bit? Because it's your opinion, perhaps the sheriff didn't utilize the media in the way that he should have in this kind of missing persons case. What do you mean by that?
Well, I've covered a lot of cases, and generally they will come out and they will use the media to help find somebody who's missing by giving us pertinent details, and not details that would impair the investigation, and not secret things, but things like whatever they possibly could. Be on the lookout. She went missing at this time, and take a look at your camera footage for this time. And with this sheriff, he gave a time frame, changed the time frame. He said he had a cause. He said at first it was a kidnapping. We later found out that their earlier belief was that she had wandered off, and they wasted a lot of time on that theory, despite the Guthrie family telling them that Mrs. Guthrie didn't have dementia issues and wouldn't have wandered off because she wasn't ambulatory and couldn't have wandered off. So the information was given to the media. It made people that were watching begin to doubt what we were reporting. We were saying what the sheriff was saying. He was doing interviews where he told one, journalist this and another journalist that, and it's a problem.
And I know you and Brian are going to stay on top of the story, however it develops. You mentioned covering a lot of cases. So if we go to your book for a second, one of the cases that you covered, I covered it back in the day too, Holly Bobo. So this 20-year-old woman abducted in 2011, last seen alive by her brother. It took until 2017 to get the conviction of a man named Zach Adams. As we're talking about potential problems in investigations, what went wrong in that case? And obviously people can read it in the book.
Well, it's kind of a similar situation. A lot of the focus, I mean, not similar in terms of who they're focusing on, because we're not aware at this point. They don't have a suspect. But there were a lot of mistakes made by the investigators. Holly Bobo had a phone on her when she was taken into the woods, and that phone was still transmitting. And they put in paperwork to try to follow the phone, get the pings from the phone, even back then. And they did it wrong. So they missed critical time while Holly Bobo was being taken out of that area. And it was an area where there was only really one road to get out, and you'd have to know the area to get out. Then there was also the focus on her brother, who had been home at the time. They were told repeatedly he took lie detector tests, but even up until Holly's body was found, which was 3 years later, they had wiretapped the phones. They'd gotten a wiretap. They were still focused on that brother who had nothing to do with her disappearance and suffered a lot from the scrutiny and the constant questioning, and it's all there in the book. But those are the things I didn't report about.
As somebody who's in true crime, I am looking forward to reading this, because I also understand you talk about Robert Blake as well.
Yeah.
I haven't talked about Robert Blake in a while. Listen, again, I really appreciate you coming on. You and Brian did excellent work. I know you continue to do excellent work. Alison Weiner, pleasure to see you, and thank you so much for coming on my show.
Appreciate it.
You got it.
Gerald the Fish.
What about, like, Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
This is Ozarks First News, midday.
Welcome to Ozarks First News at midday. I'm Jesse Inman. We kick off our Thursday with a cloudy start. A live look here over Downstream Casino Resort near Joplin, Missouri. Right now getting a break from the rainfall, but that break will be short-lived as we get closer to the weekend. We start here at midday with meteorologist Tom Schmidt. He's ventured outside the studio. He's in Wheatland today, conducting a weather class with some elementary students. Tom, talk to us about what we should expect.
Yeah, that's right, Jesse. We are here at Wheatland Elementary School up in Wheatland, Missouri, of course, about an hour north of Springfield. And we got the first graders here at the Wheatland Elementary School. It's a good-looking class. Hey, where'd my balloon go? Someone steal my balloon? Oh, there it is in the back. We're just, yeah, I'll take that. It's fine. We're just showing them off some things. We got this weather balloon. Thank you, son. And it's pretty cool. This is just one. No, I guess he's not. This is a weather balloon. We're just kind of showing it off to the kids, letting them know, hey, that's what the Weather Service launches every day. That's why we got some other experiments to get through here. Got some weather lessons to learn and questions to ask. Are you guys ready for the quiz? Yeah, okay. Got some enthusiasm here at the first grade class of Wheatland. Okay, we'll take another check-in and for the main forecast. Maybe we'll do a little experiment for you, too, on the air. It's a lot of fun. We're here live at Wheatland Elementary class for the first graders for weather class. We'll check in later, coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Tom, thanks. Cleanup underway in Clinton, Missouri, after a tornado touched down around 6 last night. The tornado traveled from the southwest end of town through the northeast end. It caused damage to several trees and a few homes there as well. The Clinton Fire Department says one storage building was completely destroyed. At this time, no injuries have been reported.
We were actually right over there on that tree line in a house in the basement, and it was pretty hectic. All the kids were sad, crying, trying to calm them down, but it was pretty quick, so we just stayed in the basement and prayed.
Clinton schools will not be in session today due to the aftermath of that storm. A first-of-its-kind fugitive task force here in the state of Missouri has made more than 1,000 arrests after its first year in action. Operation Relentless Pursuit is focused on the most dangerous criminals in all corners of the state through the use of a new intelligence-based statewide unit.
Informants, surveillances, the LPR systems, license plate reader systems throughout the state. It's a jigsaw puzzle and putting those pieces together.
The department is hoping the operations results will help secure additional funding for the upcoming fiscal year. The money would go to local sheriff's offices to hire a deputy assigned to the ongoing operation. Happening now, Greene County deputies are looking for a suspect after he allegedly shot a person on Wednesday. Authorities say a homeowner noticed an unknown man stealing items from their shed, and the suspect then opened fire on them. Officials say the victim sustained minor injuries. As law enforcement continues searching, officials say the suspect is considered armed and dangerous. Overnight, President Trump announced that the leaders of Israel and Lebanon will speak to each other today. It'll be the first time in 3 decades as Israel considers a possible ceasefire with Hezbollah. This comes as the White House is signaling there could be another round of peace talks soon between the U.S. and Iran.
Those discussions are being had, but nothing is official until you hear it from us here at the White House. But we feel good about the prospects of a deal.
For now, the U.S. Navy is keeping up the pressure by blocking ships traveling to and from Iran through the Strait of Hormuz. A live look for you over the United States Capitol. The partial government shutdown over Homeland Security funding has reached its second month, but Republicans say they have a plan to end it. Leaders in both chambers now pushing for the use of a special budget process called reconciliation to push through funding without the reforms demanded by Democrats.
We had to pivot to a reconciliation bill because Democrats will not help us with anything. They will not vote for anything that will put the Americans' safety first.
Democrats say regardless of how this fight ends, they'll keep pushing for big changes aimed at reforming immigration efforts, while President Trump says he wants this funding bill on his desk by June 1st. The president also taking aim again at Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, Trump urging him to step down next month when his term as chair expires. The president has long criticized Powell, saying he's holding back the economy by not lowering interest rates. But Powell says he may stay on at the central bank after his term ends until the investigation is resolved.
I have no intention of leaving the board until the investigation is well and truly over, with transparency and finality.
Then I'll have to fire him, okay? So whether it's incompetence, corruption, or both, I think you have to find out.
This all comes as the Senate sets a confirmation hearing for Kevin Warsh, President Trump's pick to succeed Powell. A New York jury gives a verdict in the Live Nation Ticketmaster trial. They ruled the concert giant and its subsidiary developed and maintained an illegal monopoly on concert venues. The company insisting it's not a monopoly and competes for concert promotion and ticketing. The judge will set the amount for monetary damages, but don't expect concert ticket prices and fees to drop because of the decision.
It may have a marginal effect on ticket prices in the long run for many reasons, one of which is the one that the CEO of Live Nation alluded to. People are willing to pay a lot of money for these tickets. There may be other sources of monopoly power. And, there's an argument that these performers demand, high prices for tickets.
Coming up, higher education is expensive in today's economy. That's especially true. We'll tell you about one local university's plan to increase tuition when we come back.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, and Israel. We'll give you an up-close look.
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is submission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
Gerald the Fish.
What about, Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
back. Tuition at Missouri State University just got a little pricier. On Wednesday, the university's Board of Governors voted to approve a 5% increase. The change comes as the school deals with budget shortfalls and flat funding from the state. Ozarks First spoke to local students who say the increase is understandable but puts them in a difficult situation.
It's really not a surprise to me, especially given that our college is among one of the cheaper tuitions in the state and in the country. However, given everything rising, prices, inflation, it really puts us students in a tough position.
In addition, the university is readjusting several other fees relating to student services, enrollment, and room and board. A fight over education vouchers is headed to the Missouri Supreme Court. A Cole County judge dismissing a lawsuit by educators and parents, which claimed lawmakers unconstitutionally shifted $50 million from public schools to the state's private school voucher program known as Mo Scholars, or the Missouri Empowerment Scholarship Accounts Program. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway says the court's ruling is a clear win for Missouri families and for educational opportunity. She goes on to say, while the president of the Missouri National Education Association says Missouri NEA's 45,000 union-represented educators believe families deserve a simple guarantee. If a school takes your tax dollars, it must welcome your child. Well, classic car lovers are in for a treat this week in Springfield. Some of the best restored Corvettes in the country are rolling into town. Ozarks First Stoker Wyzorek joins us live in Springfield with a preview of the National Corvette Showcase. Stoker, good morning.
Yeah, Jesse, I'm here at the Springfield Expo Center. You can see it here behind me. It's near downtown Springfield, where dozens of classic Corvettes from all across the country are set to be on display as part of a major regional judging event. The National Corvette Restorers Society and collaborators say more than 80 Corvettes, some dating back to 1953, are on their way from across the country and even Canada. Organizers tell me these vehicles represent some of the best restored and preserved Corvettes in the world. Judging will happen over the next few days, and organizers say the event helps prepare these cars for national competition while also bringing them back to Missouri, where many were originally built.
We're just really excited about being here in Springfield because it's the Missouri region where these cars came from, and we're bringing them back home to Missouri. So this is a show me state. We want to show you our Corvettes.
And you can check out the cars Friday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Here at the Springfield Expo Center. And organizers say that all admission proceeds will go to charity. Live in Springfield, Stoker Wyzorek, Ozarks First.
All right, Stoker, thanks. A live look here in Wheatland, Missouri at Wheatland Elementary School. Tom Schmidt getting ready to deliver his full forecast for you coming up next. In front of a group of eager kids. We'll check in with them and get your details on your forecast next.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, and Israel. We'll give you an up-close look.
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
Gerald the Fish.
What about, like, Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
I don't remember how it started.
North to back.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
All right, folks, here we are again back at the Wheatland Elementary School. This is the first grade class. We just did a little experiment. We did a little cloud in a bottle for us here. That was a lot of fun. Did you guys like the cloud in the bottle? Yeah! It's a classic. It's a classic. People love that. Looked at the weather balloon. We're going to be doing hail here in a minute, too. A little experiment with hail. Oh, yeah. Yeah, guys better look out. All right, so you guys are all excited? You learned something today. What did we learn? I asked a question already. What did we learn? Yes, go ahead.
The sun makes the weather.
The sun makes the weather. That guy was listening. I appreciate that. All right. So it's a lot of fun. We got some other things to go through. We have a quiz at the end we want to get to as well. So we're not quite done yet, right? But it won't take too long. You guys got a lot of stuff to get done. We'll jump in, get you learned up here at the Wheatland Elementary School for first graders. All right. We got some weather to talk about because, guys, guess what? We've got actually some thunderstorms today, right now. But they're not here. They're down south a little bit. So you guys are fine here up in Wheatland. All right, so what we're looking at now on radar, if we jump into graphics, is we've got this severe thunderstorm over in Wright County going to Texas County. Nothing big, little wind, little hail, and that's all we got from that. If we zoom on in, we can see that, yeah, I got a cluster of storms there, and that's the storms we've been talking about that'll happen for the afternoon. We'll find a few more of those develop sprinkled across areas south of I-44. Temperatures right now are in the 60s to near 70. Camdenton is 72 degrees. And if you look at the storm risk for today, some of the storms out there could be strong, possibly severe for us as we go into the afternoon. Mostly looking at areas of northern Arkansas, southern Missouri from now to about 8 o'clock. Now, Friday, guys, we're also looking at thunderstorms on your Friday, okay? So Friday's going to come with some heavy rain and a little bit of severe weather, some wind to worry about. North of I-44, this will be Friday late in the day into Friday night. A line of storms, so kind of a classic setup. We've seen that before. Looking at damaging wind gusts and even a low tornado risk Friday night. All right, so pay attention to that. Looking at the short term on Futurecast, the storms that are happening now will continue to blow off to the east. So if you live in Shannon County, Oregon County, Howell County, Dent County, you're going to find some rain and storms occasionally off and on through the afternoon. That includes northern Arkansas as well, from Mountain Home to Melbourne, down to Harrison, Arkansas, and then that activity wraps up as we go to this evening. Now, overnight tonight, we're pretty quiet. As we go into your Friday daytime, we're okay, and then it's Friday night, looking off to the west, seeing some storms there now blow on through to Kansas, into Missouri, and it'll be a stout line of storms, and then it'll weaken as it pushes south of the interstate, but heavy rain for all. Looks pretty likely. All right, looking at that 7-day forecast, things look all right for today. A storm or two down to the east of Highway 65. Pretty mild tonight, 63 degrees, 82 tomorrow. And then, yeah, guess what? Tomorrow afternoon, late in the day, we'll say after 5 o'clock, we've got a chance of storms moving in from the north and west. Areas north of I-44, probably going to find a bit stronger storm system blow through there. So stay weather aware Friday night, all right? Okay, guys, that was a forecast. You've been on TV. Your parents saw you, grandparents saw you. How did it go? You guys excited about that? Yeah. Good. Oh, we're all quiet now. Okay, I see how it is. All right. Wave to the camera one last time. Guys, this is the Wheatland Elementary first graders live in Wheatland at the Luna School. I'm meteorologist Tom Schmidt with first grade class. We'll toss it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, an eager class there, Tom. Thanks. Well, later this afternoon, Kansas City Council members could decide on a plan to build a new downtown ballpark for the Royals. On Tuesday, the Finance Committee approved a funding plan that could give the Royals up to $600 million to help them build a new stadium at Washington Square Park. The $1.9 billion plan would include the new stadium and new development around the stadium. Just west of downtown Kansas City, the Kansas Speedway awaits another arrival of another NASCAR weekend. A live look here at the track. NASCAR drivers will tell you the fastest way around Kansas Speedway is the longest way around the track. That would be the top side of the track. But fans will remember this incredible finish to the race back in 2024. Kyle Larson with this one won that race after passing another driver on the last lap.
It's turned into probably my favorite track. I don't know. There's just not many others that I feel like as comfortable as I am when I get to that track. Be able to manipulate my car to do what I need it to do when it's not performing at its best.
A photo finish there. Denny Hamlin will be one of the 37 drivers fighting for the win. He's won 4 races at the Kansas Speedway throughout his NASCAR career. Coming up, a group of people are making a long trip down to the Arkansas State Capitol this weekend. We'll tell you the cause that's having them saddle up for many miles. Coming up.
Gerald the Fish.
What about like Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews has an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, in Israel. We'll give you an up-close look.
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
group of horse riders are traveling from Bentonville down to the Arkansas state capitol. You can see on the map just how far apart those two cities are located from one another. The group is called the Long Road Home Project. Group members say they want to shine a light on the good, the bad, and the ugly of foster care in Arkansas.
We want to say we honor you, we see you, that you're valued, and that you're loved, and this is our expression to show that, show those attributes by going on this ride.
This trip can take a physical and mental toll, according to those riders, but each city they've visited has welcomed them with food and a place to sleep. Be sure to download our streaming app, Ozarks First Plus. You can watch all of our original shows there, including The Daily Scroll. It streams weekdays at 3:30 with Bailey Stroll. Here's a sneak peek.
Turns out, small talk might actually be good for your health. University of Michigan study asked people to talk about the topics that they found boring. The subjects were reported that they enjoyed the conversations much more than they thought. So even some of those things that you're like, how am I going to get out of this conversation? This is, we talk about the weather. Can actually be good for your health.
As if you don't love talking about the weather, Bailey Stroll.
I love talking about, I can talk about the weather. That's one thing,
But yeah.
People go straight to the weather when you don't have anything to talk about. I will do that.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
On the front lines across the globe.
In Rome, South Korea, Ukraine, and Israel. We'll give you an up-close look.
At the center of the moments that matter.
What do you want the world to know? What is the mission?
International correspondent Robert Sherman on News Nation.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
Gerald the fish.
What about like Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. What? How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
right, so as far as the weather goes, things looking okay for the rest of today. Some pop-up storms possible. It's tomorrow you need to watch out for late Friday night. That's going to be when you need to be weather aware, low tornado risk, as Tom said earlier. We'll track all of that for you as we go throughout the day. We are right back here at 5.
Welcome to Skilled Nation, where hard work meets real opportunity. From welding and electrical to HVAC and the trades that keep this country running, this is where skills turn into careers. Skilled Nation is sponsored by Tulsa Welding School. It's a way of life, a badge of honor.
At 180 miles per hour, every detail matters. But what most fans never see is the skilled work behind all that speed. The wiring, the fabrication, the welding, the HVAC that keeps these machines screaming on the track. Today on Skilled Nation, we are out and about. We are at Phoenix Raceway with Dion Rocco Williams. Now, he was a former pit crew member for Jeff Gordon. Now, he does a lot of social media. He's an analyst. He knows everything about the sport, and he's going to help us explore the people who are keeping these machines going fast, real fast. How fast are we talking, Rocco?
Man, we're talking, first of all, let's change that verbiage and let's call that human performance.
Human performance.
We're talking human performance. And when you're doing a pit stop, I mean, every 10th of a second matters. And when every 10th of a second matters, you have to be very focused, skilled, and intentional. So pit crew guys are very skilled in the fact that, you know, you are very intentional and you're the only ones in the world doing a specific function. You can't do NASCAR anywhere else but where we are currently. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. That's what makes these places magical, isn't it? When you walk in, you just feel the electricity.
Absolutely.
The crowds, the people, the kids with the face paint. I mean, you look around here, this feels like home to you, right?
It does. It does. And what's best about it is that I didn't grow up a race fan. So,
really?
No idea.
How'd you find yourself on the crew?
Avoiding real work. You know, I was avoiding real work. I was an athlete. I played football at Wake Forest University. Okay. I was from Georgia. So, I mean, I was familiar with NASCAR only in that I heard it. It was around, but it really wasn't marketed to me. My family didn't watch it, so I didn't know about it. But like myself and a lot of other athletes in the world, you know, football it's our goal to reach the top, to make it to the NFL. And when that doesn't happen, a lot of athletes like myself are stuck in limbo on what we're going to do next. And luckily with NASCAR, right at the time, we're experimenting with bringing human performance in and elevating the pit stop experience by having athletes focus on that very intentionally. Because before, it was the mechanics who worked on the cars and they had to pit. Long days, long hours. Jeff Gordon and the Rainbow Warriors were the first to have a dedicated pit crew. They weren't athletes, but they were dedicated to just pit stops.
Yeah.
And that evolved to bringing in athletes who had no mechanical experience like myself, but learned. I mean, this is 21 years. I've never missed a NASCAR race. It's a career that developed in working in the shop full time, breaking cars down, and not knowing the sport at first, but then working full time at Hendrick Motorsports. You're forced to learn because you're around the best mechanics in the world. And then when you are around them and you're watching what they're doing, you realize, oh, this isn't that hard. As long as you're organized, you know, and passionate about what you're doing. Because when it comes to NASCAR, accountability is very high.
Yeah.
You know, it is. You know, those checklists are very high, and you could be the best driver in the world, but if your team isn't prepared and your truck driver isn't there, or logistically you don't get, everything has to fall into place, and that starts well before you arrive to the track, you know, in the fab shops, in the truck bays, in the washrooms. These teams are meticulously organized to a point where they're not all the same, and that's what makes these race teams different. That's what makes car chiefs different, mechanics different, interior specialists different, welders. Put it this way. You mentioned when we were talking earlier about the welders.
Yeah.
When we go to a super speedway, there are rock stars. Why? Because they are able to bend metal and find a way to make a car look the same, but it's not. Little nuances with just hand painting paint schemes as opposed to using wraps because of the aerodynamics of shaving down bolts. you know, just to keep that surface as smooth as possible, finding speed wherever you can. You know, once I fell in love with this sport when I realized how meticulous it was and how detailed it was, and it wasn't just turning left and right. You know, there's a lot of moving parts, and you have to be specialized in more than one area to really do well in this sport. And, you know, that's where we are today. You know, 21 years later, I feel like this is America's best kept secret to athletes like myself and sticking ballers who really don't pay motorsports any attention. Then they come here and they're like, whoa, what just happened? You know what I'm saying? And then they're blown away and they start looking at other opportunities or how to get involved.
Well, I love this. Rocco, you're talking about athleticism, right? Bringing athleticism into the pit. And I think when I see a pit stop happening in less than, 12 seconds? Something like that, right around there?
Less than 10 seconds now.
Less than 10 seconds.
Yes.
And I'm thinking somebody has to catch that, pull that off, that heavy tire.
Yes.
There's some strength.
Yes.
There's some precision,
Yes.
right, in getting it on quickly, getting those
Can I
motorcycles
explain that?
Yeah,
I
please.
love that you're talking about that because you're held to a certain standard. As a tire carrier like I was, you have to, in order to perform a 9-second pit stop, you have to have a 3.2-second runaround. You have to put the tire on in 1 second or less. The tire changer has to hit that lug and has it off in 1.3 seconds or less. You put the tire on, you secure the nut, you run around 3.2 seconds, you repeat that on the left side. Everything has to align to get that 9 second. Now, mind you, we are humans doing that. You'll get 9 seconds every time when everything is perfect. But the driver, he has to come in perfect. If he doesn't and he slides too long, even 2 inches, if there's a car in front of him and he has to go around because he didn't qualify well, we're going to lose about 0.4 of a second just getting to the car compared to everything else. Everything is accounted for. Your tire catchers, like you said. I have a rule named after me. I called it the Rocco rule because, you know, I've pitted a long time, right? So back when I was pitting for Jeff Gordon, he was leading the race. I'll give you an example of what happened. I roll my tire to the tire catcher. He does not catch it. We get penalized. Crew chief's looking at me, Rocco, what happened? Look, he didn't catch the tire. You know, so next stop goes around. Jeff drives all the way around after being penalized. It happens again. They're looking at me.
Oh, my gosh.
So the specialist in me takes my responsibility myself. I control my own destiny. Instead of rolling that tire to him, when it comes off on the right side of the car, I pick it up and bounce it over the wall from the right side of the car. Now, what that does is you don't have to catch it anymore, and it's over, right?
Yeah.
But it also allows me to get to my tire faster because I'm not babying it to the wall. I did that for about 6 races or so until it got caught on and people started seeing it on TV because nobody else could throw their tires like I could, right? Next thing you know, the rule changes. All tires and equipment must come back in a controlled manner. The Rocco rule was born.
The Rocco rule was born.
But that's how you have to think. You know, you have to find ways to mitigate or to cancel mistakes because, you know, they're not tolerated in this sport. You know, you don't get 4 downs in football. You know, this is a race and you have stage breaks now. It wasn't always the case then. So every time you did a pit stop, your mistake cost the team thousands of dollars. Yeah. You didn't have the bolts tight and the wheel comes off. You're costing the team money. You didn't have the electrical wiring right on your cool suit, on your driver's cool suit. Now he's baking in the car because you didn't secure that right. It's the little attention to details that not only sets the drivers apart, it sets the mechanics, the crew chiefs, and the pit crew members apart because the ones that embrace that and hold themselves accountable, those are the ones that move up the ladder from to the top tier teams and are in position to win every single week. And you don't start out that way. You have to earn, you know, that respect. And you start out in the truck series and move your way up. But you just rest assured that any mechanic and crew chief who is on one of these Hendrick or these top 5 teams, they earned that position to be there, and they should be considered some of the best in the world at what they do.
Rocco Williams, he was pitting with Jeff Gordon. He has a rule named after him, an NASCAR rule named after him. How many people can say that? He's also all over the social media. We'll tell you how to find him, and an analyst of the sport. When you analyze the sport, are you looking at the pit crews? Is that really what you have your eye on? And how much does the pit crew contribute to the win versus what the driver is, what we see, the driver on the track?
I love that you asked that question because I feel like, you know, the pit crew is an underrated a tool that you have. You know, you can compare it to special teams. You technically can't win the race with them, but they can prevent you from winning.
Yes.
You know, for here's the fact of the matter. Everyone has to change their tires at a certain point. You just have to. There's no avoiding it. So when that comes to fruition, let's say my pit crew does 9-second pit stops all the time. All right, period. And then the leader of the race is a 10-second pit stop guy. His crew can only do 10-second pit stop. He has a 200-foot lead in front of me.
Okay.
All right, he's ahead of me 200 feet. We do a green flag stop because it's inevitable. You have to. You're wearing our tires out. We do a 9-second pit stop. He does a 10-3. When we go back out on pit road, now we're in front of him.
Right.
Because of that.
Right.
And now that we're in front of him, dirty air affects that car like it was affecting us. He can't pass us anymore. We pit again, we get further ahead of him. That's how the pit crew helps the team win, by not messing up.
Right.
By letting the driver, by putting the driver out in the same position he came in. We're not trying to gain spots on pit road. You're not trying to beat anybody. You're just trying to do your job and wait for everybody else to mess up, because they're the ones who are going to lose the positions.
So you talk about this, and in the skilled trades, we talk about all the time. People might be working for a shop, right? And,
Yep.
if they don't come out to a job with everything they need, right, they've cost their shop money.
Not only that, the optics of this is the Cup Series, right? That's stuff that happens in the Truck Series and the ARCA Series, not coming to the track prepared. The biggest example of that is on Sundays, these teams are tuned, and these cars are tuned to the point when they roll off the hauler, they're pretty close to where they're going to be when it's time to race, because of the preparation back at the shop. Now, there are certain teams that when they come here, they didn't have all that done. They were behind. Maybe they had less support in the shop, or maybe they wrecked their car, and then maybe they only had 2 cars, and they don't have all these cars, and they're behind, so they have to do it at the racetrack. When you're doing that at the racetrack, the teams that had it done at the shop, they're focused on other things, strategy,
Right.
fuel
Right.
mileage, and how to get that.
So once again, you're behind before the gun goes off.
And you can't catch up. So it comes down to the organizer, your crew chief, your general manager, your shop foreman, the ones that can highlight and spotlight those talents that can get stuff done at the track.
Yeah.
And then you have to highlight that talent that does well, at the track and away from the track, because that's 2 different personalities. But if you can mesh that well and get a way to get both of those teams to work as one, those are the teams that are successful every week, and they don't have a lot of turnover, and they utilize their resources very well. There used to be a point where you could bring anybody you wanted to the racetrack. Now with NASCAR, they've limited the roster sizes, so you have to be very specific with who you bring.
So you have to have skills. You have to have specialized skills.
Those are earned.
Yeah.
Who you bring to the track is somebody who earned that at the racetrack through their skills, showcasing that they're dependable. Their parts look the way they need to be. The wells look the way they need to be. They're on time. They have all their measurements in the right spot. Those are the ones you bring to the track.
I'm going to throw out, Rocco, some skilled trades, the kinds of training that we talk about a lot on Skilled Nation. And you tell me, is there a place for it in
Yes,
a pit
I like
crew?
this. Okay.
Okay. We've mentioned welding, so I'm going to
Yes.
skip welding. Talk about fabrication.
Absolutely. When you're talking about fabrication, and when you're walking in the garage, and you're looking at the hospitality setup, you're seeing the hero card stands, you're seeing the stanchions, you're seeing the way the different pit boxes look, okay? One thing about NASCAR, it's a monkey see, monkey do. And when you see something, you want to outdo everybody else. You get what I'm saying? So your fabricator was your rock star. I've seen fabricators at Hendrick Motorsports. I would just be amazed how they could take one piece of metal and they could shape it into the number 5, put holes in it. They can make it look unique. They can make it into the Kellogg's, Tony the Tiger, and they could really add personality to your race team. They're very coveted, your fabricators are. That is, it's not as used as much with this new car that we went, where we're not using sheet metal. Our cars are different now, where we don't have to have a lot of metal parts, and that was by design to create parity in this sport.
Gotcha.
Because your best fabricators were all being, there's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
All the big teams had them, and you couldn't compete with them.
And you couldn't compete with them because what they're able to do with aerodynamics.
With the
I
metal
imagine.
and the shaping of it, it was just, yes, your fabricators were the rock stars. Your fabricators and your metal shapers, especially inside of a race shop. Not too much at the track. That's
Sure.
more of a race shop thing for your guys who don't travel as much.
Gotcha.
And crash repair, where you might need quick fixes on your well at super speedways, because you're allowed to fix your cars when you wreck, and when you're running from points. If you have a well...
Could you have a welder in the...
Yes, all the teams have the welders.
On site?
On site. Back when I was pitting and when we had the older version of the car, when we would wreck, we would fix our cars. And we would practice how to do crash repair. So you would have all your skilled welders and your body men at the track with you. Because that would be the difference in winning a championship or making the playoffs. When you wreck, and you wreck with 3 or 4 cars, we fixed ours and got it back out there and ran 3 more laps. Y'all didn't. And now we
Got it.
gain 2 or 3 more points over you. That's where it comes, and that's how meticulous this is, and these points are so valuable, and you have to start collecting them right at the start.
So direct transfer of skills from welding, fabricating. What about electrical?
Electrical, oh my gosh, the gauges in the car, all right? Anything, the gauges, the battery, anything electrical in the car, that is your, we call that was your retirement position. Because you started in the shop as a tear down.
Okay.
All right. That means when the car comes back, you're stripping the car, you're checking the parts, you're washing it. You know, that's tear down. That's what you do. From there, you move to rear suspension and fuel cell. Fuel cell is next. You take the fuel cells out, you take the tailpipes off, you inspect those, you clean those. Next is rear suspension. You do that. Once you figure out how to take all the rear suspension off, you move to front suspension and then motor. Now, once you figure all that out, and you do that for a few years, you're like, man, I'm tired of being dirty. I'm tired of all that. And if you're in a small body frame, most of your electricians are small because you got to get inside that car,
gotta get
right?
in there, right?
Me, I want to be good in electricals. I'm a big guy, right? But your electrical, you always stayed clean in the shop.
Okay.
You didn't get dirty. You know,
Okay,
you're
so
working with the wires.
Pro tip, you could pick out the electrical guy because he's clean.
Yes. At the shop, he's clean and probably small. And he's very, very well organized. You know, with the wires, you have to have an organized guy doing electrical because, you know, you'll kill yourself. And long story short, there's no gauges in these. There's no fuel like, oh, when I'm running out of gas. Everything is predicated on these gauges and math, and it's very rudimentary with how you calculate these you know, these numbers and these matrices.
But
So
you don't want to have that like in a consumer car. You will have all those gauges. You probably want to get rid of those because it's weight.
Weight.
Just
This
get
is
rid
a
of weight.
driving cage.
Yeah.
These aren't like the cars that we drive with all of our
Where's my
creature
cup
comforts.
holder? Where's
No,
my-
there's not all of that. And I would think that, you know, but you want less is more in this sport, but there's still ways to get a little bit of those driver comforts, you know, creatively and not lose speed. And that's where the crew chiefs make their money, you know, and how to get that done and not have issues or things fall apart, you know.
So we talked about fabrication, we talked about welding, we talked about electrical. What about HVAC? When you talk about cooling systems, you know, I'm used to, again, in a consumer car, the one I drove here today, right, I just have your basic, you know, radiator, and it's keeping essentially my engine cool.
Yes.
I imagine you have brake systems that need cooling just because of the torque and the friction on these things. What all needs cooling in these systems?
Your brakes, your rotors, your driver, the inside of the car. And that's all done very creatively with the wind itself. You know, these air ducts are put where it forces air into the car strategically on your rotors, on your ducts. What happens when those get damaged?
Yeah.
And you get injured and those get plugged? That's where issues are caused. You know, you have a duct to your rotors, and that is mainly at the short tracks because the brakes get heated up really, really high. At night races, when you're racing, you can see the rotors glowing red.
They're glowing, yeah.
But here's the thing that makes, you know, all these cars are mandated you have to have the same parts and pieces, correct?
Right.
But your Toyotas and your Chevys and your Fords look different underneath, and you have to figure out where to put those pieces differently. And as these cars drive and compress, where you put those pieces determines how well it works over time. These
Okay.
cars are being beat up for 300, 400 miles. So that's where you have to be very strategic on where you place these parts, where they're not compressing and getting damaged when you hit a car.
Mm-hmm.
Can it still work? You have to be creative with that, with your driver. And that's been a very large topic these past 3 races is the cooling of the driver. There's been a lot of malfunctions with these drivers' cool suits that they have. There's a lot of been technology involved with that where they have these suits physically forces cool water through you while you drive.
Oh, wow,
Because
smart.
these
smart.
cars get so hot.
Yeah.
So while you're driving, I mean, you have an air conditioner vest on yourself. Now, when that vest malfunctions, that water turns hot.
You have hot water
and now
coursing all over your body.
And now it's a problem where drivers are having to decide: do I want that cool suit and to risk it malfunctioning, and then now I'm driving in the sauna? You know, to the point where here's what would determine that for me: how well my interior guy is, how
Right.
well is he at hooking up my personal HVAC, my personal air conditioning cooler, because that's what's going to mandate if it fails or not. Not having it in the right spot or not connecting it in a way, not going through the right sequencing prior to that race starting, and the heat builds up on it, your sweat builds up on it, maybe another part malfunctions and it affects that. There's a lot of things that you have to take into account, and I would want the smartest engineer, the most possible. You know, you could take an HVAC guy, show him what we're trying to do with racing and our cooling system there, and if he's smart enough, he can figure out some correlations, some synergies that would be very advantageous to a team, to the point where they don't have to worry about checklisting what he's doing.
Got it.
They would love having an HVAC guy working on their cooling stuff and anything that's cooling their car, compared to a mechanic who really didn't have any background on that, and they had to teach him that.
Right.
You know, maybe that what he's seen and his other experiences in HVAC, he can bring something to that race team, something to that crew chief that they're not seeing, that can add a difference where theirs don't fail as much. You know, I think you got to be an open mind with that, and you know, that HVAC and just anything where there's meticulous attention to detail needed, you know, will fit very, very well in this sport and with a race team.
Rocco Williams, he analyzes the performance of pit crews every day, so he knows what's up there. And, you know, when I think about, you're talking about there's their underlying skill transfer.
Yes.
Underlying knowledge transfer. But now how does it elevate? How does it specialize, right? And then what is the kind of pathway, the mentorship that gets you the knowledge that you need, that you can only get in the professional environment?
Here's the thing, you know, when you want to be a professional, when you want to play football or basketball, you can go to the store and buy a football or basketball.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm going to go buy a NASCAR. Yeah.
When you want to practice being a mechanic in NASCAR, how are you going to practice?
Right.
What makes NASCAR so unique and about the mechanics and the athletes that are in this sport is about 90% of them took a chance on themselves to get in this sport and bet on themselves. The story for the NASCAR mechanic and how you get in is you drive to North Carolina and you introduce yourself to the team and you say, hey, I want to learn, I want to be a part of this. And you start sweeping the floors, you start picking up the tires, and you start showing where you're helpful. And then you move up. And there's nobody exempt from that.
Right.
It goes from back when I started in 2004, it went from the pit crew, it went to the crew chiefs, and went to the to everybody in that regards, you know? So you start off that way, you earn your respect, and then you have to go racing. You got to go to ARCA races, Pro Cup. It's not a Pro Cup, ARCA, O'Reilly Series, Cup Series, you know? You have to show that, okay, I don't make any mistakes in the truck series. Everybody sees that because we're at traveling circuits and we know who everyone is.
Yeah.
So once you
have eyes on each other, don't you?
You do that. You're early to the plane. You look good when the garage opens up. You're on time. Your shirt's tucked in. You're yes sir, no sir. You know you can always be counted on. Then next thing you know, the O'Reilly Series calls you up. Hey man, we like what you did in the truck series. You know, let's try this. The races are a little bit longer. They're a little bit more structured. You know, so you do well there. You create a name for yourself. Next thing you know, you're racing with Cup guys as well. They look at you. They see that, hey, who's that young guy over there? And in my case, who's that young black guy over there? So I really stood out because during my time, there weren't a lot of guys that looked like me. I came from football. I was tatted up. I had, I was really strong, and I was really prideful in how I looked. So I stood out. Doing that, a Cup team gets your attention. He offers you a tryout. They give you a trial basis. You go to the Cup team. That's how you progress through the sport. The average career in stick and ball sports and guys like me is 3 years.
Right.
And then we have to go get another job. You know, we can't play sports anymore. The average career in NASCAR for a guy like me is 10 to 20 years. You know, I pitted cars professionally for 17 years before I retired, and I'm still in the sport through hospitality, content creating, broadcast analyst, and mentorship. You asked about the mentorship. I didn't have anybody tell me but my best friend, who was my mentor, who recruited me into the sport. I didn't have any other guys who done what I did before to tell me what not to do, because I was the first.
Right.
So my speed bumps, luckily they weren't big to the point where they pushed me out the sport. But they were big enough where I got slapped down a few times, and I had to get humbled and learn how to play this game as a athlete coming into motorsports.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And then once I figured that out and they saw, hey, this guy's a hard worker. He's still showing up. He's making his team look good. I was pitting for Kyle Petty at the time, and I treated them like Hendrick Motorsport. That's why Hendrick noticed me and gave me the shot to try out for Jimmy Johnson's team. When Jimmy brought me on, he didn't bring me on as a starter. I was the backup jack man. But then Mark Martin's team saw me as a backup and saw like, hey, man, can he be our starter? Just because I was showing up every day. I was looking good. I wasn't complaining about not starting. I was just showing up, putting in the work, being available. Moved up to Mark Martin, won 5 races in his first year with a 50-year-old man, finished second in the championship, learned so much there. He left. They do the team swap. Jeff Gordon comes on. I retired with Jeff. The biggest thing that I've learned in my career is be a sponge and listen to the ones that are doing the right stuff. Anytime Jeff talked, he was in all of our meetings, all our pre-race meetings. I made sure I listened. I was a sponge. I watched what he did and how he did it because Mark Martin was the same way. You just be a sponge. When I worked at Hendrick, I wasn't a mechanic. I couldn't change my oil at all. I knew nothing. They just wanted me for my athletics. By the time I left there, 3 years, I was moving front suspension off because I went to college. Right. I could learn how to study. I just watched what they did. I bought the tools that they did, and it was just, ask the right questions.
This sounds like the kind of advice that transfers to anybody.
Anything.
Going through any kind of early career, mid-career pivots.
Yes.
Anything.
Yes.
It's be humble enough to start at the bottom.
Bet on yourself.
Be respectful, bet on yourself, seek out mentorship, and then be a sponge. I mean,
be a sponge. You have to. You have to, because if they're doing it right, watch what they're doing, and they're setting a precedent, and they're giving you the template. Don't be someone who doesn't, want to do it your own way. Watch the guys that are doing it before you and doing it well, and take advantage of your resources and your opportunities. There's nothing like being at the racetrack and talking and introducing to people doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing now. This is myself, and I'm on around the track or in Charlotte all the time talking about this in NASCAR. We're breaking down this stuff, and I tell these guys all the time, take advantage of the opportunity of being in Charlotte around these teams.
Yeah.
You know where they are.
Yep.
Do it the way we did, by showing up and offering help. A team is never going to turn down help. Don't ask how much I'm going to get paid.
Nope.
Don't ask, what the hours are. Don't ask, hey, what do I have to do? Just say, hey, how can I help? And then I will guarantee you, doing it that way will produce more fruit than the other way.
Now, what about get back to systems?
Okay.
In the car. It's such a vast piece of technology, right? What's the thing that I just enjoying the sport, enjoying the speed, don't appreciate like I should?
Okay.
What is the system, the component, the piece of craftsmanship that I might undervalue because I don't have a trained eye like yours?
Gas spillage is the most interesting thing for me.
I never would have guessed that.
Calculating gas spillage.
You're talking, so when they pit, among the things you do, you change the tires, you see a lot of the things, you always fuel up. Now you're saying they don't have a fuel gauge, they're doing math.
They're doing math. That's a 90-pound gas can using gravity.
Okay.
To 21 gallons of gas, 14 gallons of gas out. And you can dump one can with gravity in about 6 to 7 seconds, correct?
God, you've done all this. You just
6 to 7 seconds. The race car, it takes 2 cans to fill your car up. All right? Because it's a 20-gallon tank. It's only a 14-gallon gas can, right? So you need 2 to fill up the tank fully.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
do you have time when you're pitting to do 2?
That's why I'm so excited about this part. This is what I wanted to tell you about. These crew chiefs have learned, and these engineers have learned. There's 2 races going on. There's the tortoise and the hare race going on. And I didn't pay attention to it because I'm all about going fast.
Right.
I'm the hare. I'm just fast. But the tortoise that game plan is sneaky, all right? No matter every race I've been at, this for 21 years, no matter how you do it, where you start off fast or you start off slow, by the time the last 30 laps click off, those 2 will be right there with each other.
Okay.
And here's what the thing is. When I noticed how they were doing it, they weren't driving fast anymore. They were driving fast enough to do less pit stops than everyone else. And they had an engineer who could calculate the fuel spillage better, where they could stretch out the fuel mileage longer than everybody. When you're gassing that can and you're plugging it in, sometimes you don't hit it squarely and you spill gas. Sometimes you spill a lot, sometimes you don't. Did you know that the size of the puddle determines how much you spilled sometimes? And the crew chief will notice it, and the engineers will notice it from the box. And they have to calculate the spillage and put it into their equation to determine how much you can run.
Before pitting.
Before pitting.
So
imagine how
everything is a strategy.
And once I realized that there were engineers that just were better at math than others, that became the coolest part of the sport for me, because I'm a physical guy. I pick things up, put things down. I can do that really fast. But to mentally, to beat somebody by outsmarting them, just because you know math better than anyone else and you're thinking outside the box, that is one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of as far as racing, because I didn't really pay attention to that because I was just about getting the tires out fast. I wasn't thinking about how can I beat somebody without even them knowing. And that's what they're doing.
It is, as with everything else, right? It's physical.
Yes.
It's mental. It's kind of how you, mental approach, right? It's kind of maintaining tending your garden, so to speak.
Deion Sanders says it best. Look good, feel good, play good, get paid good.
I can't think of a better way to end than that. How can we find you? I know you're doing a lot on social media.
Yes.
Tell me what you got going on, how we can find you.
You can find me on Rocco Slaw, ROCKO SLAW on Instagram, all your networks, and you can also tune in to Around the Track on all your local news outlets as well. And we'll be breaking down the NASCAR stuff there. You will soon see me on a podcast called Men on Pause. You can find me on YouTube on there.
Okay.
30 to 50-year-old.
Great name.
30
Great
to 50-year-old guys married for a long time, traveling on the road, talking about real-life events, and we're dropping dimes and knowledge like we've been doing now, to all of our little mentees in the sport as well, and our future 30 and 40-year-olds.
Well, I love the fact that you've taken it upon yourself, and it's important to you to fill a mentorship role.
Yes.
Because you clearly have so much knowledge to share, and I know that for a lot of the people listening who are saying, well, gosh, how that's what I want to do.
Yep.
How do I get there? They can know that if they're learning skilled trades, there's a path.
Do you know how many times I hear that? How can I get there? And the first thing I ask is like, hey, where do you live? Phoenix, Richmond, Texas. Move to North Carolina, bet on yourself, and just introduce yourself to a race team on what you want to do and how you can help. 9 times out of 10, before you go back, you'll have yourself a job. You just got to bet on yourself and believe in yourself.
All right, winner there. Rocco, thank you so much. Dropping the knowledge and helping our listeners know that there is a path for them as well. Rocco Williams, he is, he pitted with Jeff Gordon and a lot of others too.
Yep.
You heard him on the socials. He's an analyst. You can see him on your local TV station, your local Nexstar. So look for him there as well. This is Skilled Nation. It's Badge of Honor. All right, Rocco is in the mentorship phase of his journey, but there's a whole new crop of young bucks entering motorsports that are using their skills and precision to move the speed forward. Today on Skilled Nation, we are on location at Phoenix Raceway during the GovX 200, and we have with us from the Alpha Prime Team 44 pit crew, we have Victor Williams. Thanks for a busy race day, I'm sure.
Yes. We very busy. Garage opened today at 12. We've been here since 11, and garage don't close till 9:30 tonight, so we are going to be at it all day.
It's going to be a long day. Thanks for taking time to join us on Skilled Nation.
No problem.
So, first of all, tell me about what lit the spark in you to get into motorsports, and then what was your path? What was the journey that made it possible to join a NASCAR team?
Yeah, well, so, growing up, my mom tells me stories of this all the time when I was younger. When Lightning McQueen, the first Cars movie, when it came out, I was 3 years old, and I was hooked. That movie hooked me into, racing. And then, of course, growing up, I always had the races on. I was a huge Dale Jr. fan as a kid, So I'm glad to be the mechanic that I am. Growing up, I always wanted to be a race car driver, and so I was in couple racing programs growing up, raced down in Virginia International Raceway, but to race you need deep pockets, and you also need to be good, and I wasn't the best driver and I didn't have deep pockets, but I knew I wanted to be in racing some way somehow, so took the mechanic route, and here I am today. So.
And see that now that's interesting to me is because you see the speed of the cars, right? And you see the driver kind of as the face of the team, right?
Right.
But there's a whole team behind it, and you found a pathway onto that team. This fascinates me. The race weekend, you're just here for a few days, right?
Right.
So what does your week look like? Like when do you start thinking about this race, preparing for it, packing for it?
Right.
What does it look like? And then when you arrive here, is it just an empty room that you have to trick out?
Right. Well, and it's funny, you say, when do we think about this race? It might sound silly. We think about this race way back in January.
Really?
Honestly,
months ago.
We're always thinking about, okay, what do we need to do? For, what my crew chief Frank Kerr says. He always drills in us: look ahead, think ahead, and that's what we do. We look ahead. We plan months in advance on sometimes what cars may run, just things we may do at the track, but during the week, when we finish up getting the car put together, it may be until Wednesday, because we normally travel out on Thursdays. It might be until Wednesday when I pack bags, get things ready for
and this is both like personally, but also for your job in the crew.
Yes, yes,
so
indeed.
you're putting together the selected tools you need,
Yes,
the backup parts you might need.
Yep.
So you have to think of every possibility.
Exactly. Yep. So you gotta have your spare axles on the truck, your rear gear on the truck. Me being the rear end mechanic, things like that. So, all your underneath things.
So, I guess what I'm wondering now is, there's a lot of talk about a new generation entering NASCAR, really, and pushing the sport forward. And they have to have the right skills, the right training, right, to do that. Is your driver new? Your driver, Brennan Poole?
Brennan Poole, no, he's been in this for a long little while. Actually, it's funny enough, when I was in middle school, I remember seeing him almost win race in 2016. It was his Talladega race. So if you want to say childhood hero,
he's one of them, and you get to work with him now.
Exactly.
What about what would you say the average age is in the pit crew? Like on that Team 44, what do you?
Yeah, so we are a younger crew, for the most part. I know us on the mechanic side, the older. Well, of course, you have our crew chief, who he's seasoned.
Yep.
But as far as the other mechanics, we're range from the age of like 26 to 21 years old. So,
and tell me about the teamwork and camaraderie, since it does seem like a younger crew. Are you kind of, I don't know, growing up together and developing those bonds?
Yeah. Oh, yes. You have to, because we're literally every day of the week, pretty much, with each other. Like we have our families, but during the race season, we are family.
Okay.
All the crew members, we all, have to have that bond, because we travel to tracks together. We may have breakfast, dinner, lunch, whatever together. Like we're always, we may even go, play golf, something like that. So, and you need that. You need that. We're always with each other. So you need that unity.
We're talking with Victor Williams. He is part of the pit crew for Alpha Prime Racing Team 44. And, when people see NASCAR, when they see these cars, they see the driver, right, face of the team.
Right.
They see the car, very identifiable, right, with the sponsorships and everything else. But then behind that is the team that you're a part of.
Yes, sir.
And you're a little more hidden from view, right, really, for the public. And what I'm curious about, because on Skilled Nation, we're always highlighting the skilled trades.
Right.
So where are the fabricators, the welders, the electricians? Like, is that a pathway onto a NASCAR team as well? Cooling systems, too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it certainly is. You all those jobs, backgrounds, they all can lead to here, to racing, to being on a team. Kind of like me with being an automotive mechanic. That helped open the door to being here.
All right, but you got to have it intentionally as a goal.
Exactly. You
Right.
got to have that intentionally as a goal, you got to be able to transition, because you might have the knowledge from just a basic, but you got to be able to have the transitional knowledge to, all right, how does things work on a race car? It might be different than your regular everyday gadgets and cars and things like that, but this is totally different in a sense,
So you see everyone on the team, and you see what they're doing. So I want to break out how some of these skills apply in your crew.
Yeah.
So, like, how much welding? Do you do any welding? And
a
you
little
do?
bit.
Okay.
I do a lot of MIG welding.
Okay. And is this, I imagine, chassis is kind of the foundational of the welding thing, or what else am I not thinking of?
Here and there. Sometimes, like this past week, matter of fact, had a exhaust that had to get welded. One of the tabs was starting to separate, and you sometimes you got to repair what you got. What you got, especially on the smaller team. You got to repair what you got, and that brings you where you need to go.
So Victor, you're saying a smaller team. Give me a sense of the size. How many people are on Team 44, and how many people are on the Alpha team altogether?
So, including truck drivers, including the mechanics, it's honestly really about 7 of us.
Okay.
Wow,
that is a tight team.
Exactly.
So you're all wearing more
44.
hats than a bigger team would?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And thing on when you're on a smaller team, you kind of have to do a little bit of everything. It's not just, okay, you're the engineer, so you're in charge of setup. Well, sometimes you are also turning wrenches on smaller teams.
Right. You learn a little bit of everything,
exactly, right?
So
and that's good.
So welding, you might have had to, like you said, you had a gap coming in.
Right.
Because I imagine the forces on every part on this car at 180 miles, the forces are just intense.
Oh, yes.
So have you ever had to just like hold something together with repair? I mean, that was one example. Are there other times where it comes in and it's just like, we just got to do this?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Sometimes even, and this isn't necessarily repair, but there's sometimes, and this what most teams do anyway. But you're having to, if you have to get your rear camber correct, you might have to heat a certain area on rear end housing, to get that right.
Just so you can like bend. You got to
Right,
heat it
exactly.
up a little bit. Okay.
Yep. I mean, it's just a whole lot involved in that sense. Yeah.
You know what I question is cooling. Because I think when people think cooling systems, they're thinking of the engine. But what about brakes?
Oh, brakes,
What
yes.
about, are there other systems?
Yes.
What about the driver? I mean, tell me how cooling winds up being really critical to success on the track.
It is critical. You have your rear gear needs cooling on road courses. Your transmission needs cooling. Everything needs cooling. Your driver needs cooling. And that plays a huge part in just the longevity of your components on the car, your driver as well, helps them get through the race. There's times we actually just recently got a new cool suit, and on a hot day like Texas, for example, we were able to get the driver down to about 60 degrees, and that was a game changer for him. So cooling is huge.
Okay.
For sure.
And I would imagine that there's a lot of data coming from the car back to the crew, so that you can kind of monitor the systems. What does that change in terms of electrical, in terms of data transfer? Is the underlying skills there in terms of learning electrical?
Yeah. I mean, one thing for sure, on the pit box, we always get our driver feedback with ththings like that. He might say, hey, we have a gauge not showing, not reading like it needs to, or hey, a voltmeter is reading yada yada in the car. And so that helps us big time with kind of getting ahead of the situation.
Yeah, so you're talking about that box being a communication system back and forth from the driver to the crew?
Well, just with him talking.
Okay.
And
so they have like microphone on.
Yes,
okay.
indeed. Yes, indeed. Yep. And that always helps us, stay ahead of the situation.
Okay. So that constant communication back and forth.
Right.
But even, are you getting data beyond what he's telling you verbally?
So our race cars are old school. It's not like Cup.
Okay.
Yeah, these cars are old school, so they not necessarily, like, our electronics doesn't necessarily get shown on the monitor per se. We do give SMT data showing our drivers inputs, but other than that, our cars are old school.
Old school. You're not
old
getting all
school.
the...
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still pretty much a 1960s technology on with our cars.
Hey, well, you were inspired by an early 90s, animated film, so
right.
We'll let it slide.
Right. Let it slide.
We're talking to Victor Williams. He is with Alpha Prime Racing, Team 44. You're on the pit crew. You do mechanical. I got to ask, things rarely go perfectly. What happens when the unexpected happens? Tell me about how you have to be adaptable.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be rooted in your skills. And you have to communicate. Talk about the teamwork when something goes sideways.
Yeah, so when something goes sideways, it is, you just got to be ready. You got to expect the best, but prepare for the worst, honestly. If you, during a race, if we were to get involved in an accident, be ready, get your, the bear bond, which is a type of tape we use in racing. Get the bear bond ready, get the saws ready, get the hammers ready. Like you are having to just roll with the punches and go pretty much. That's key. Honestly, that is key. Just being ready, having everything out. Even before the race may start, we may already have our saws and things ready. Or with me being the rear end mechanic, I might have my axles ready just in case we were to wheel hop and break something.
You hope not to
You
use
hope
it.
not, exactly. But, still prepare for the worst, Got to be ready. Got to be ready.
So what are the hidden systems in a car that if I'm just as a fan watching it going on the track,
right,
and nothing's going wrong, everything's working perfectly, what systemically, right, is going right? What are the systems that have to go right to get the kind of performance you need to win a race that the casual observer doesn't even know about?
Right. So there are a lot of things. A lot of things have to go right to have a good day. Pertaining, like with the car, for sure, want to make sure that your vehicle is, down on the ground in a sense, like going around the corners and things like that. You want everything to be sealed to the ground. For sure, your engine, it's the power point of the whole car, right? You want that to be up to par. Just everything really. And another thing that a lot of people tend to overlook, like fans, yes, it takes the crew, it takes the driver, it takes the car, but it also takes strategy as well. From the crew chief, it takes strategy, just looking around, okay, and hoping that a caution does or doesn't come out, which stops the field and would have you, make you decide, okay, do I have to come into pit, get some tires or not? Do I stay out? So it's just a lot of things gotta go right.
Well, what would you call it? Is there a system that has a kind of craftsmanship or importance to the overall that stands out to you, that you appreciate the most?
Yes. Honestly, I say car setup. Like, cause you could have the best driver, right? You could have the best driver, you could have the best engine, but something that I take a lot of just awe into, right, is just car setup. And that falls a lot on your engineer, a lot on your crew chief. That is your platform on your race car as it goes around the track. And if you don't have a car that's set up well, you're really you're not going to
define setup for me. I mean, are you talking about how it sits on the chassis? Are you talking about what's in reach of the driver?
So you're talking about it's a lot of suspension. So you're talking like your geometry, your wheel geometry. You're talking about maybe how many rounds you would have in a spring to kick your vehicle in whichever direction it needs to go for. Just depending on what track you're at. Or even your track bar, or how far over do we want our rear end to go? Just things like that. Tire pressure as well. That's part of the setup, because the tire guides are very crucial.
Yeah, that's almost where it seems really athletic.
Yes,
because you're talking about the precision, the strength, the timing. I mean, you're really talking about athletic traits there.
Oh yes.
And you're looking like you're in fine shape yourself.
Well, thank you.
What is the athletic component to this, the human component to this? Because in the skilled trades we hear all the time, it's Phoenix in the heat.
Right.
If you're doing HVAC, you're going to be in an attic when it's 180 degrees in that attic. You're going to be on a roof in the direct sunlight. And you have to have a certain amount of connection, and you need to take care of your instrument. You need to take care of your body to some degree. How is the athletic component in NASCAR?
Oh, it's up there. Like, especially on hot days, like not necessarily today, but Texas, for example, hydrate. We might not be in it now, or even when we practice and qualify, but on race day, we are in these big, heavy fire suits.
Okay.
And along with the fire suits, you're wearing your fireproof underclothes. You're wearing your face protection. And a helmet, all that in the heat. So
oh my gosh,
it takes a lot. I mean, you could sweat out 5 pounds and not even realize it.
So hydrate.
Yes, indeed.
The same thing. That's the same thing in the trades.
Oh yes, honestly.
And sometimes you're crawling into really tight spaces. I imagine you get that sometimes with the mechanical as well.
Oh yes.
Where you're doing yoga or
which it kind of benefits me being the tiny guy I am, right? I could get in tight places. My crew chief may be like, "Hey, Victor, go under there, and you can reach it. You got long arms." So,
talk about a pit stop. They happen in about how much time?
A good pit stop in our series, like 12, 13 seconds.
12 or 13 seconds.
Right.
All right. How much can you do? And also, do the trades, like the trade skills, come into play? And what's the communication like? What are you thinking about when you see that car coming into your pit area?
So, and I'll tell you a story. So this was back in 2024, my first season in this series. At the time it was called the Xfinity Series, but we were in Portland, Oregon, for the race, and the pit crew guys was us mechanics, which was pretty interesting. And so we had to, when the car came, I remember the first pit stop. Here comes the car. I'm like, oh snap! Here I go. Here comes the car. This is it. And you just gotta be ready. The car comes at you, and you gotta go. You jump over the wall. Make sure your hose don't get caught in the, underneath the car as it coming around, and make sure you hit all your lugs on and off, and the fuel guy, make sure you get all your fuel in the car. I mean, it is a lot. And even just me now, I haven't pitted a car since then, really, but I catch tires, and you don't want the tires to bounce off the wall and go back out on the track. You get penalized. So it's a lot. It's teamwork. It's teamwork, honestly. Yep.
For sure. What about the cameras? What about the cameras, the crowd? I mean, you're doing all this not only in a high pressure thing because you want to win,
right?
And you don't want to get that penalty, but you're also doing it under scrutiny.
Yes.
What does that do to your mindset? How do you get in the mindset to succeed under that kind of pressure?
Right. It is
like
a lot of
pressure, what's the mental and emotional toll?
Well, so my biggest thing, I try to just ignore the noise. That's the biggest thing. Ignore the noise, because the noise it's a distraction. Honestly. Okay. And I try to. I'm a Christian man, so I pray. I ask God, all right, what do I need to do to keep it moving, keep my head up, because you may have good days, you may have bad days, but regardless, you got to keep it going straight. Stay good, be your best regardless on, what situation you're in. So,
but when you do make a mistake, right?
Right, which happens.
You got to learn from it.
Exactly.
So what is a mistake you've made that actually made you better at what you do because you had the right attitude about that mistake?
Right. Okay.
Because I think that for the trades, for anything, that's a lesson that we all need to do, right? Is like a mistake is wasted if you don't learn from it.
Exactly. Yeah. And mistakes happen, right? I remember my first year, and this is kind of funny. We were heading to Talladega, and I couldn't quite remember if I loaded everything up that we needed, right?
Okay.
So here we go. we get to the
nagging,
track. Yeah, and here I am. We're driving to the track, and I'm like, did I have that? I don't think I did. Did I have it? And so we get to the track, and what I'm talking about, it was jack stands, right? You kind of going to need that to work on your car, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I had left the jack stands that we needed at the shop, and I was like, no way, did I just let that happen? And I did, right? Things happen, but that moment right there showed me that you gotta double check, triple check, go out on the truck. All right, do I have this? Do I have that? Sometimes you may even have to help your guys out too.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have this? Do you have that? Because we're a team. We're here to help each other. So
for people listening that might want to get on a NASCAR crew,
right?
And right now, though, what they're learning are skilled trades. They're in an electrical program, an HVAC program, fabrication. What would you tell them about how much transfer there is of their knowledge base, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then how specialized will it then also need to become?
Yeah.
So kind of lay out that path. Like, I'm maybe a student listening right now in RSI or Tulsa Welding School, and I'm thinking, man, I'd love to do this. Everything Victor's talking about is resonating with me. So I guess two parts. How transferable is what they're learning to what they'd be doing in some stations on a crew? And then how specialized will it become beyond what they're learning?
Yeah. So a lot of the things that you may learn, it really does translate to racing a lot. Especially in this in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, our cars, like I said earlier, they're old school. They're pretty much like 1960s technology. So a lot of this stuff is stuff that's been around for many years. So it's not that necessarily is real difficult. What is real difficult, I say, is probably just staying committed to it, because it takes a lot of time out of your out of your life. It may pull you from families, things like that. But as far as with just technology and things like that, it's something that you could grasp on pretty well. Now, and another thing for sure, when it comes to these, the electronics with these cars, you really got to make sure that what you do is done right the first time.
Oh yeah,
they always,
there's a lot riding on it.
Exactly. Yeah, they always say you always have time to do it right the second time, like all time in the day, do it right the second time. Why not get it done right the first time? So that's the biggest thing, because you want to try to keep from any failures on the track. You don't want any mistakes, anything like that. So that's the biggest thing. The components may be similar, not similar, but components may be simple. That's my word. Simpler, but you have to be flawless and execute.
All right. So it sounds like, because that is a big in skilled trade training.
Right.
Do it right the first time.
Exactly.
Because you're costing what sometimes is a small shop, right?
Right.
You can be costing them a lot of money that they can't really absorb, right? So, that really carries over. It sounds like the biggest change might be lifestyle, a lot of road, being away from family, things like that. So if you can get around the lifestyle part of it and you're really drawn to the sport, you can actually get in with that welding, fabrication, electrical,
Yep.
or cooling background.
Yep.
Well, that's exciting.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
something to dream for.
Oh, yes. Yes, it's a dream come true. I love it, like I said. And if little 3-year-old me could see what I'm doing now, he'll be amazed. He'd be like, oh, man, look at you. Look at you. So I love it.
Well, here you are. You made it. Pinch yourself. You're not dreaming.
Yes, indeed, right? Boop.
Well, I know it's race day.
Yes.
I'm so grateful that you took the time to spend with us talking about the skilled trades, how the skilled trades translate to NASCAR team, and really just about your journey. I appreciate it, Victor.
Yes, no problem. No problem. Thanks for having me.
This is Victor Williams. He's part of the Alpha Prime Racing Team 44 pit crew. This is Skilled Nation. Look, precision matters in the skilled trades. You want to do it right the first time, so you don't have to do it a second time. Hey, listen, thanks for watching Skilled Nation. Badge of honor, a way of life.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
We are back for another episode of Put Me In, Coach. Thanks for being here with us in the Ozarks First Plus studios. Jesse Inman with Chris Pinson, our man Caleb running the show for us today. Fun show ahead today, Chris. A lot to get to. One of those interesting times of the year in sports where, I don't want to say we're having to scrounge to find things. That's not necessarily true, but it's not all on the field stuff, which I kind of enjoy.
The best part about this time of year is, you're right, there's a cornucopia of things to discuss. There's a little bit of golf, a little bit of baseball, maybe some interesting NFL news. We got everything laid out in the buffet just for you.
Yeah, we do. We're talking some NFL draft today. We're going to wrap up the Masters, another win for Rory. And our challenge today, Chris, this is my favorite challenge we've done to date. I saw a clip of this morning. I am excited. We'll talk about the Cardinals and Royals and how things are going with them thus far throughout the season. Also, some drama off the field for the NFL. A big topic. Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini. You've heard about the drama. We're going to get into it a little bit today. Plus, a preview of WrestleMania. It's real to me. So we're going to get into that. But Chris, let's start with the Masters. All right, it was a great weekend of golf, folks. I hope you got to see some of this. Beautiful shots from Augusta National Golf Club, as always. And Rory McIlroy came away as your Masters winner once again. Chris, what did you think of the tournament? What did you think of Rory winning?
Rory played incredibly for the first 36 holes. Then he came back to earth the last 36. But credit where credit's due. He did not let Saturday's disappointing round of one over par daunt him. And then he came back Sunday, fell behind early, but somehow, some way gained his composure. And I really think that, honestly, had he not won last year in the way that he did, right, to go to a playoff, to beat Justin Rose, I don't think he would have had that same resolve this year to come back, regain his focus, regain that poise, and pull off the win. But he did it on the back nine. As we always say, drama on the back nine. He won. He's a rifle champion. And as you see the graphic, just the fourth player ever with Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and Sir Nick Faldo to go back-to-back green jackets. I think, Jesse, it's a fair case now that we can say Rory McIlroy might be the greatest European player of all time.
And, I mean, there's a case to be made that he could come back and do it a third time in a row. Why not?
Why not?
Why couldn't he do it? There's a lot of speculation or controversy is the right word with the lead up to the Masters for Rory. I want to hear your thoughts on that. You kind of alluded to it there in the tone of your voice. People upset saying, well, Rory, he didn't even go to the 2 or 3 tournaments before the Masters when a lot of other players were playing those Texas tournaments leading up to the Masters. Rory admitted, he was like, I had the chance to drop off the kid at school, fly up to Augusta, play a practice round, and fly home before dinner. So what are your thoughts on people saying that's not fair?
Well, as a longtime player and current NBC analyst Kevin Kisner said, any player can do that. Like, once you're qualified and you get the invitation that says you're coming to the Masters, you can contact the club, get a member to go out with you, and you can do that. Granted, are there money spectrums in the sport? Of course there are. Does he rightfully have a little more dough than others? Yeah, he's earned it. So to me, if you can go to Augusta like anybody else and you can use your free time because you don't have to play those tournaments, why is that so out of bounds? I really think people made a big deal about that. But again, congrats to him. He did what Jack Nicklaus told him he could probably do. He's done what Tiger did. I mean, look, like anybody else, that'd be like telling an NFL coach, hey, do me a favor. You shouldn't look at all this film before your next game because maybe you'd have an unfair advantage. That wouldn't make any sense. Rory did the right thing, got up there, prepped, planned, executed. Congrats to Rory.
Yeah, for sure. Earned it, no doubt about it.
No doubt.
Some drama on the last couple of days, which I loved. On now to the RBC Heritage Open, playing for the Scarlet Jacket there at Hilton Head, South Carolina. So that's how the PGA side of things is looking going forward. Live Golf, Chris, some news for Live Golf. Potential troubles with funding ahead. You see John Rahm there, one of their big players. What are your thoughts on Live Golf possibly being in danger of having some funding pulled?
Yeah, this came out yesterday with a bombshell report that apparently the PIF, basically the Saudis' backing of this league, of Formula One, even of Tom Brady's flag football league, they're pulling out of all this stuff. Now, why is that the case? We don't know all the reasons yet. But between the lack of success it's had television ratings here, of course, the ongoing conflict between America and Iran right now, for whatever reason, the Live Golf Tour looks like it's going to be funded this year, but after the 2026 season, there is no guarantee for the future. I just think personally, if you're Brooks Koepka, dude, you look like a genius. You went there, you took $100 million, you left, you paid a nominal $5 million fee to come back to the tour, and now you smell like roses.
Yeah.
But if you're guys like, listen, if you're not a Bryson, if you're not a John Rahm, or maybe even a Terrell Hatton, the rest of those guys that might be without a tour in the next coming years, that's the guys you're like, hey, I hope you save the money they gave you up front, because there's a good chance if you're not a former major winner, the PGA Tour is going to tell you, hey, this is what you get.
Well, I'd love to see some of those golfers come back. The Bryson DeChambeaus, the John Rahms, Cam Smiths, Neiman, and so on. But, we'll see what happens with that. Chris, you and I hit the golf course this week for our Put Me In Coach Challenge.
Oh, yeah.
It's golf month here on Put Me In Coach, and we had some fun out there this week. A little bit of controversy with this week's challenge. We'll let the people take a look at this one. Let's take a peek at it.
All right, Jesse, it is time for challenge number 5 of the month, because we are back here on what I consider the home field advantage. We're at Deer Lake Golf Course, part of Great Life. And Jesse, what exactly are we getting into today?
Yeah, folks may think of golf as a slow, plodding game. Not today, Chris, because speed is the name of the game. We are doing one hole of speed golf. Doesn't matter what you shoot, you just got to get the ball in the hole faster in less time than your opponent. We'll hit our first shot. We'll run to our next one, and thankfully, I'm going to go first here, which is not great. But what is going to happen is that you're going to be following me in the cart so I can just access the club, hit, and go. And same for you.
Brother, good luck.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, man. Where's the ball? Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Oh. That's me, baby. Let's go. Got a 58 degree. Probably not enough club. Oh, the tree. No. Hurry. Got the putter. Time.
Time. 2 minutes, 13.49 seconds. Wow.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I actually bogeyed that. I need to start sprinting all the time. Okay, I'm still trying to catch my breath, but let's see if he can beat that. And he's off. Go, Chris, go! All right, Chris, next shot. Sitting at 45 seconds. Set this up for the shot. All right, straight to the pin. How you feeling? Yeah, it's probably best we didn't do a par 5. All right, here you go. 135, 150. Oh, he pushes it. 155. Oh no. 2 minutes. 201. Oh, you didn't even let it stop.
What was your first time?
Well, it's about 205.
What was your first time?
I think, what was it, 213? Yeah, but you hit the ball while I was rolling.
I did.
We'll call it good. I mean, it could not have been closer, really. It was, that was pretty crazy. Chris barely beats me out by like, what was it, I think 6 seconds or so. But I mean, I gotta say, we may have to review what happened over there on the green with the ball not stopping, but I just need to see a hand up on that. But I do think he would have beat me anyway, so I'm going to give it to him, Chris. What a performance. You caught your breath yet?
Would not recommend running and playing golf. It is far exhausting. I like the carts, the leisure, and a little bit of libations. Wait a second, bartender, cart bro.
Yeah, could use one right now. I'm not even mad, though. I can't believe I got that in 5. Probably the only time I'll ever shoot a hole in less strokes. I'll take. So, all right. Well done for that challenge, Chris.
Man, that was so much fun. Caleb Faubert, our director and editor of that video, all credit to him.
Oscar
that
worthy.
Was amazing.
Oscar worthy.
Yes, that was awesome. We're going to have to consult the rules committee. There may be a penalty coming for that. I don't know. That was a lot of fun, though, Chris.
Dude, honestly, I really thought as we were driving to the course, I thought the concept was insane. I'm like, you mean we have to run? Like, I thought it was just hit the ball, get in the cart, and that was speed. And I'm like, either A, I'm going to die on the course, or B, there's no way I can play decent golf. And, dude, you played, I mean, that 5 shots, if you didn't hit the tree, I think you make the green on your second shot, honestly.
Yeah, we had a couple of warm-up holes for that, too, and I was just spraying the ball all over the place to warm up. Very windy out there, by the way.
Whipping.
Heavy
Whipping.
wind. Yes, it was. So Chris takes the speed golf. He's up now for the month. This March and April challenge standings combined. So Chris is up 3-2. We're back on the golf course next week for another golf challenge. We'll see who's closest to the pin on a
baby,
par 3.
I like my odds on that one.
So, yeah, hey, and I'm feeling pretty confident after that. So we'll see what happens. Coming up next, we've got NFL, MLB, and WrestleMania.
I used to struggle with dandruff, but now I use Head & Shoulders every wash.
Because the active ingredient in Head & Shoulders nourishes your scalp and stops flakes where they start, leaving your scalp feeling healthy and flake-free. From the #1 dermatologist recommended brand, Head & Shoulders.
I'm a United States Marine. Being a veteran, you don't want to show any weakness, so it becomes really hard for you to ask for anything. Every veteran is deserving the benefits they earned by serving our country.
Ooh, pretty colors.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything. For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The Health Class Film Guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Oh, I don't see where you got your degree.
I don't have one. I went another route.
All right. I guess tell me a bit about your experience.
For 15 years, I've been managing logistics and mastering project management skills.
Wow. Sounds like you've got just the kind of skills and experience we're looking for.
Gerald the Fish.
What about, like, Joaquin Bartholomew?
Joaquin Bartholomew.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya. Joaquin Bartholomew. What? How do you think of that?
I have no idea. Since we gave him that title, he should honestly be the king of the pond.
King of the pond.
Yeah.
He's out there somewhere.
For real.
You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right.
All right, we're back now here on Put Me In, Coach. My blood's still pumping from that challenge, Chris. That was, man, that was exhilarating.
Okay, didn't you tell me that there's a guy from, Great Britain who owns the world record for fastest, 9 holes or 18 or both?
Yeah, the red coat from Great Britain. That's right. Yes, he came here to Horton Smith and set a world record a few years ago. It was like I don't know, so fast, like under 30 minutes or something, maybe 36 minutes to play 18 holes with one club.
Dude, I'm just proud of the fact that that neither of us puked after doing that. Because, again, if you think running 100 yards on a football field is long, try running like 300 plus yards, trying to hit a golf shot. That was so hard, dude.
Yeah, it was. It was. But
it was fun. It really was
fun. It was fun. Chris, we always say this here on the show. The NFL never sleeps. It's always football season. 1 week from today is the NFL draft, and taking place in Pittsburgh, so it should be a nice rowdy crowd for those Steelers faithful to lead the way for folks. And I want to talk about the Chiefs and their lot of draft picks here. Okay, so let's pull those up. I've got a list of the Chiefs draft picks. 2 first-rounders for the Chiefs, which is rare, thanks to the Trent McDuffie trade earlier in the offseason. So picks 9 and 29. Then in the second round, they have pick 40. In the third round, pick 74. So 4 picks in the top 75, which is good. In the late rounds, from there, a 4th-rounder, 3 fifths, and a 6th. Brett Veach, Chiefs GM, earlier this week, I think today, was quoted as saying fans need to be ready for some fun, some trades flying around, and I think it's going to be pretty active out there. From the Chiefs' perspective, at 9, I'm not really sure what I want, but I can tell you, Chris, what I don't want. That would be an offensive lineman.
Oh, really? You want to go against the grain?
I would rather them go with, and I don't want Jordan Tyson. Okay. Now, here I am, sitting here saying this. We will come back to this show a couple weeks from now, and we will probably be talking about the Chiefs drafting one of those 2 things.
Probably.
I would prefer an edge rusher. Ruben Bain would be nice. But, I don't know. Secondary is a big need, Chris. What are you looking forward to for the Chiefs in the draft?
Well, like you said earlier, you alluded to the trades. I mean, look at that. Late rounds, you got a 4th. You have 3 5th-round picks and a 6th. To me, those 5th-round picks, and probably what I would assume is going to be either the 9th pick or the 29th pick. Either way, you can book some of those late-round picks to get traded, and I think for sure the Chiefs might move back in this draft by trading the number 9 pick. That's what I think Veach is alluding to.
Yeah.
I think in the war room, there's going to be a lot of calls fielded for that 9th pick. There's going to be a lot of calls fielded from the Chiefs saying, hey, we'll trade you 2 5th-round picks for X. I think once again, it's up to Veach and Andy Reid and this crew to figure out the best needs they got to get. And look, since 2017, right, they've been picking the right guys every year. I think once again, with an army of picks, they're going to do the right thing, rebuild this roster offensively, rebuild it secondarily, and hopefully put us back on path to get Pat. Oh yeah, another Super Bowl.
Yeah, hopefully so. I guess to boil it down to 2 guys I want at 9 would be either Carnell Tate
Ohio State.
Yeah, or Mansour Delane if he's there, or Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain first and foremost, but we'll see what happens, and it's always crazy on draft night.
Always.
Okay, so we got to address probably what has been the biggest sports story this week has been the drama between Diana Russini of The Athletic and Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel. Came out, I believe, yesterday as we record here. Diana Rossini resigned from The Athletic, the New York Times vehicle, after pictures surfaced of her at what I have seen described as an adults-only resort in Arizona.
Yes.
So these two were spotted there by, I would guess it was a private investigator or something like that. I don't know what happened with that. But Chris, controversy with this. It's a touchy subject. I don't really know how I feel about it. I mean, it's just bad for both families of the two involved. And really, there's not much more for me to say about it other than that. I mean, yeah, there's the journalistic integrity part of it. That's down the list of concerns for me. Just the people involved, probably more of a concern for me. What are your thoughts here?
I'm going to flip that for you. 100%. I'm glad she got fired. Like
resigned.
She has 100,
resigned.
Whatever. She has 100% set women back for sports reporting. Okay, 100%. Look, women in this field already face the ongoing everyday struggle of being told you're only there because you're pretty. You're only there because you might have slept your way to the top. So for her, who's been a longtime veteran senior NFL reporter at ESPN, at The Athletic, for her to be caught in a bikini with a shirtless Mike Vrabel at an intimate couples-only hotel, and then to produce zero evidence that it was a girls' trip like she claimed, that it was just two people hanging out, couldn't be further from the truth. Her explanation online, her resignation letter, garbage, no facts at all, going to resign over not giving oxygen. Do me a favor. Take it. Congratulations. You have played yourself out of this industry. You deserve to resign and never be hired again.
I think she'll be back. I think she'll be back with
who,
somebody.
Dan Le Batard?
I would bet Barstool. I would bet Barstool Sports or something of that ilk.
Sadly, when you compromise your integrity, then you stop believing what people say.
Yeah, it's
right?
not great.
It's the boy who cried wolf, and she deserves to get fired for it.
Yeah. I think I don't know. She denies the accusations at hand. That's all
Then
I can
produce the
say
evidence.
about it. So
then show me the evidence. Where's the counter evidence? She has none.
I'm not making a case either way. I'm just saying she denies it and she is resigned. We all, and you want to read the letter, you can see that for yourself.
Yeah, no accountability in that letter whatsoever.
I think with this, Vrabel will face no. There's nothing. Nah. Vrabel, this won't affect him at all. Business as usual for him
because his job is to coach football games. Not report facts.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it's a messy situation all around. We'll see what happens.
Rightfully let go.
Quick glance here at Cardinals and Royals. The standings here for the two, or the records for the two. Cardinals 10-8, third in Central. Weekend series coming up against the Marlins. Things, looking better than I expected for the Cardinals out there. Jordan Walker looking good. Chris, I'm worried about my Royals. 7-11. They can't score. Bobby Witt can get on base, but they can't get him home. It's bad. They got a weekend series against the Yankees. I'm concerned on those fronts there. So quick word for you.
They're now 2-6 in their last 8 games. They just wrapped up 3 straight series against AL Central competition. Didn't look good, as you mentioned. Can't score. Pitching's not great. I mean, again, I don't know what you do, because do you put it on cue? Do you put it on the players? Who's to blame? The problem is you have a playoff caliber team, and you're not living up to standards early on for the second year in a row. Not a great sign for KC.
Yeah, not a good start. WrestleMania is this weekend. Let's bring in our WrestleMania contributor here. We're going to talk a little bit about wrestling. Tony Wynn of Rabbit Hole Report fame.
It's clobbering time.
Tony, you're a big wrestling fan, just like I am. Chris,
Indeed.
You live in the nostalgic part of the art form, just as I do. Mm-hmm. Tony, what are you looking forward to for WrestleMania this weekend?
Well, to tell you the truth, all I really want to see is what Danhausen is going to do. Because Danhausen makes everything a whole lot better Hausen. So I'm looking forward to that. But of course, it is the main events for each night. Yeah. The first night being Cody versus Randy Orton. If I had to do my pick, it'd be my St. Louisan. Mr. Ortonhausen.
Yeah, Randy Orton.
Good choice.
He's got Pat McAfee flanking him here, Chris.
This is true. Yeah.
It's been a little wild on that note. But now the other side, let's pull up the graphic we've got for this, Caleb, showing both main events. On the right there, you got Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. The left, you've got Roman Reigns and CM Punk. So those 2 titles, respectively, are on the line. I don't know if you guys saw this, but
yesterday on the right there, Cody Rhodes, who looks like Homelander, he invaded the Pat McAfee show with a baseball bat, smashed up the set, and took his title back. So, hey, yeah, Pat McAfee stole Cody Rhodes' title and had it on the show for most of this week up until last night, or yesterday morning. So that was a fun little bit. I'm also looking forward to Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi. Brock Lesnar, a made man in the WWE, taking on a newcomer, Oba Femi.
And honestly, I think Oba, it's time for somebody of his size, of his caliber, to replace somebody like Brock.
Are you saying somebody's going to put Oba over?
I'm saying that's the case, where Brock is going to hit rock bottom.
Yeah. I always look forward to WrestleMania weekend, just for the sheer fact of the surprises that could come along with it and all of the things that, WrestleMania weekend is the Super Bowl of wrestling. And it's in Las Vegas once again, back-to-back years. Chris, do you have a favorite WrestleMania memory or a wrestling memory in general that, with those feels kind of coming back this weekend a little bit?
Oh, that's easy. I forget the number that it was WrestleMania, but it had to be Austin Rock for the title.
Oh, man.
I believe it was in Austin, right? It was in Austin, Texas?
Houston,
thank you. I mean, that match, man, I've watched the breakdown behind the scenes of Rock, Stone Cold talking about how that match went over. Everything that they did, I mean, the pop, the reaction, the vibes, whatever you want to call it, it was off the charts. And for those two guys, at the height of their powers, the height of their fame, between their work on the mic, their work in the ring, their ability to just build the drama of that moment and deliver like it was, to me, that is one of the greatest matches you could ever turn the tape on.
Yeah, that was a fun one for sure. And then at the end of it, for Stone Cold to win and then shake hands with the devil himself.
That's right.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon. The heel turn of the ages there.
Is this
at
a
WrestleMania.
rib or a shoot?
So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. Tony, I'm looking forward to the ladder match as well. They always throw in some sort of high flying like ladder match, for these things.
And who else but these in particular people that are just known for being high flyers and everything like that, and then suddenly throwing in Rusev in there to just pile drive through everything. It's going to be an amazing match regardless.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Saturday night 1, Sunday night 2, available on the ESPN app. So should be a fun one, boys. Enjoy it. And folks, thanks for watching Put Me In, Coach. Thanks to Tony Wynn for joining us to talk wrestling. We will see you right here next week on Put Me In, Coach.
Best Reviews is an unbiased team that researches products in real-world situations to give reliable recommendations on just about everything.
Call that a plasma sword?
For the best reviews, go to bestreviews.com. Seriously, before you buy anything, ever.